Hospitality is also the secret of the good living. I don't design the emotion. I try to understand people and to make people laugh. You can enter in a beautiful space, but empty. And hospitality is this. Hospitality is people. Hospitality is the warm welcome.
Mattia Cicognani is the co-founder of 84 Magic Hospitality, the group behind three of Miami's most talked about restaurants, Cotoletta in Coconut Grove, San Lorenzo in Little River, and Si Papa 3190 back in the Grove. In just under 18 months, every single location went viral within days of opening, and not just because of marketing, but because of an almost instinctive read on neighborhoods, community, and what Miami was ready for. Today, we're sitting down with Mattia and my friend, Cervera real estate top producer Gingi Beltran, to make the case that Miami is now a legitimate, world-class gastronomic city, and that its food revolution isn't just a lifestyle story, it's a real estate story. Where serious restaurateurs plant their flags, neighborhoods follow. And where neighborhoods follow, property values move. The people who see it first are the ones sitting at the right tables, folks. So today, let's get to that table. Mattia, how are you? Welcome. For our listeners that want to hear in your words, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey here to this beautiful city.
I'm an Italian restaurateur, which born in a great region in Italy. In Italy, actually, I'm born in Emilia-Romagna, which is the town of Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati, Ducati, but is also the city or the region of the hospitality.
Mattia, you in Italy, you were an instructor, correct? A professor?
Right. I did a lot of things in the hospitality business. I grew up in the restaurant business also because my grandfather was a restaurant owner. And then I start working in the hotel business, and I was professor in a catering and economic and management school in Modena. So yes, and also it's great that because all of my guys, they worked with me. They was my students before.
I love that.
So
I love that. Okay, so we're going to talk more about that journey in a second. But Gingi, one of the original OGs of real estate and one of the original top producers at Cervera. Tell us about your background, how you got started, and why.
My background, I got started because I was always very curious about how people feel with spaces. And I got my real estate license and I started doing it with friends and family. And then I realized that I really could make a career out of it. So I started looking to see who I was going to work with. And then I realized that Cervera Real Estate is shaping neighborhoods. They're telling the story of what neighborhoods are doing. And they're naming neighborhoods, as we very well know. So I decided to go for Cervera Real Estate. I've been the top producer. I also represent 1428 for Cervera Real Estate. And obviously, it's a woman-owned company, so I'm very happy with that.
Love that. And just for clarity for the listeners and viewers, it's the residences at 1428
Yes.
Brickell, right? That we internally lovingly describe as 1428. Okay, good. So I have a good duo here. We've been talking about getting this conversation going for a few weeks, maybe a little over a month, right, Mattia? So I'm glad we're finally here and sitting down. We're going to have fun. Let's set the table. Let's set the context, which I like to do, right? Mattia, you came from Europe with no Miami reputation, no existing audience, and yet you are able to successfully open and blow the roof off 3 restaurants in under 18 months. Tell me a little bit about how that happened and why you bet on Miami.
Miami, as I said, is a beautiful city. It's warm, not only because the weather, but because people. And the Latin people can help with this type of energy. So I chose Miami, first of all, for that. And then I saw in Miami a good opportunity to grow up my idea of the hospitality. It's a beautiful Italian restaurant in Miami, but my idea is a little bit different to everyone.
And that idea is essentially the single plate concept, right?
You're right. My first restaurant is called Cotoletta, and just one item on the menu is a veal chop Milanese. And when I think about the best dish in the world, I think about the pizza.
Mm.
Why the pizza? Because pizza is for everybody. Everybody can eat pizza. Exactly the same in a different way, of course. You can eat the veal chop Milanese. Every generation can eat the same dish in the same time, you know? And this is the sense of the hospitality, in my opinion. So, and this also is the sense of luxury, because when you go in a restaurant and you don't have to choose what you see in the menu,
Right.
and someone else choose for you, that is beautiful. I think is exactly sense of the luxury. And I find in Miami a good city to do that.
So tell me a little bit about that. When you arrived, Miami's restaurant scene, what was it like, and sort of what convinced you that the city was ready for this sort of single dish concept, which I don't know that any restaurants were doing that, Gingy. You can correct me before that, but I think you're one of the first, if not the first, to do the single
No
dish.
restaurants at all have ever done that. The only restaurant that I know that ever did that was Entrecote. It was so it was something kind of unbelievable, and he's really kicked it out of the park with it.
Yeah. So what made you decide that we were ready for that?
Well, I don't know if Miami was ready, but I was ready to do something different, you know.
Yeah.
And why? Because simplicity, I think, exactly is the best sense of the hospitality.
Mm.
For me, hospitality is to host somebody in your house. And when you host somebody in your house, you have to do what you know. You know,
Mm.
you don't have to do crazy things. You have to do much simple things. Well did it, and nothing else. And that's why I think I don't know if Miami was ready, but again, I was ready to do something different.
I like that. And I like the simplicity and the luxury of it all, because it's not about over the top. It's sometimes it's like less is more,
Less
right?
is more.
Gingy, to that point, set the scene for us in terms of Miami real estate and how you see a parallel there in terms of.
Well, I think that where there's a lifestyle,
Mhm.
you sell property, and Miami's becoming an ecosystem of a fabulous lifestyle with all the money that is coming in and the fast pace that we're living in. I think that when you have restaurants like Mattia's restaurants, people go to them, and you create cities that you can walk from your apartment to a fabulous restaurant. You can do all those things, so you're really creating a lifestyle.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the art of hospitality, right? In addition to being a professor and a restaurateur, you are an author, published The Art of Hospitality. And hospitality itself is often described as a love language between a brand and its consumer. So, shaping how people feel and connect with the space. In The Art of Hospitality, you emphasize that, hospitality is about not just what people feel, but what they receive, or not just what they receive. How do you intentionally design for emotion?
What I like to say usually is hospitality is about feeling welcome, and hospitality is also the secret of the good living. I think I don't design the emotion. I try to understand people and to make people laugh. You, you can enter in a beautiful space, but empty. And hospitality is this. Hospitality is people. Hospitality is the warm welcome. And yes, I think the secret of the good living is that to try to build up something different, something very emotional, something means amore, something means love.
In your book, you touch about the importance of storytelling in the guest experience and essentially in the art of hospitality. So how does a narrative shape the guest experience from arrival to departure?
Storytelling still leave it only if you have something to speak about.
Right.
If the storytelling is real, you can feel that, you know? And I still teaching to my guys to have something to say.
Mm.
You know, imagine my restaurant. My waiter's gonna come and gonna say, gentlemen, it's a no menu restaurant, and that is something special immediately. Because that means curiosity for the people. So for me, the storytelling is something very easy because we have a lot of things to speak.
Yeah, and so tell me a little bit about the storytelling at Cotoletta. I want to dive into this. So what is the story when a guest comes in and sits down? Like, what's the narrative behind why veal and how they sort of interact with that
So
experience?
usually my guys say, I don't know if you know, guys, but we have only one item on the menu. And in the very beginning, people was really surprised. I mean, and it's funny also because for the Latin culture, usually the Milanese is chicken,
Mm.
and in Italy we did that only with veal.
I like that. Gingi, tell me about how that translates into the real estate experience. What is it was narrative like at 1428 Brickell?
1428 is not your typical sales feel.
Mm.
It's what I'm trying to do is show you a day in the life of being in that building.
Mm.
So everything from what you're smelling, the flowers that we have, the butler coming and bringing you a coffee, all those things are done intentionally because I want you to walk away as if you had spent the afternoon in your apartment.
Mm.
And that's what we're doing. It's a very different approach than what Miami is used to, because Miami is used to the flash and the ostentatious, and there's a lot of cha-cha.
Right.
And this is completely not that.
I like that.
This is completely not that. And it's also, and to Mattia's credit, to what he's doing is exactly the same thing. He's doing something that is just beautiful, luxurious, and it's in the way that you're treated and the quality of the food.
Right.
You walk into it and have a dining experience that there's no loud music and you can actually enjoy your food. So all those things, which is why I asked him to do this here with us, because it really goes in line to what we're doing and what I consider a luxury product. Because I don't consider a luxury product because it's expensive, or it's the thought and the detail that goes behind it.
Right. Right. No, absolutely. And it's funny that recently I was at a panel and I heard Bernardo Forbrescia talk about the overuse of luxury, where there's super luxury, ultra luxury,
God.
prime luxury,
I'm so tired of
luxury,
hearing the word
luxury. And it's really not about the price tag. It's about something beyond that, sort of transcends that,
I always
right?
start my conversations with the clients.
Oh,
I know you've heard the word luxury 100 times, but this is the real luxury product.
absolutely. Okay, good. You guys having fun? You guys good? Yeah. Okay, good.
Are you okay?
You're good. All right, we're gonna. He's shy, guys. If you haven't noticed, so we're gonna break him out of his shell. You're doing great, Mattia.
You're doing great.
And you too, Gingi. Let's talk a little bit, guys, about the restaurants, the neighborhoods, the bets, and the Miami culinary scene. Right. Let's go back to Cotoletta and Coconut Grove. Why that neighborhood? Why that block? How did you even open a restaurant in 6 weeks with no reputation here?
Well, maybe it was 4 weeks, but by the way,
Wow.
I know, it's so
I
crazy.
shortchanged you.
And in
yeah.
Miami, where everything fails.
we was very angry. But yes, the Grove have a strong identity, I think. For Cotoletta, for example, this type of neighborhood, Coconut Grove, was the best place to open that restaurant.
Mm.
In like a week, we did a long line of people. Was crazy in the very especially in the very beginning. And the neighborhood is everything. If you find the wrong neighborhood and you put the wrong restaurant, that is difficult.
Yeah, in Coconut Grove, we often like to describe it as a warm hug. It's just got that cool, bohemian vibe, but it's just on the water, and it's lovely. Gingi, tell me a little bit about how your experience of Cotoletta and how it was received in your circles.
Well, it was funny because everybody was calling me and being like, I went to this restaurant yesterday named Cotoletta. They only have one item, and they would go through the whole thing. And I kept on thinking, oh God. And it ended up, I think it's genius what they're doing, because it's a place that survives because the one menu item obviously is something that's very important. And the Cotoletta, by the way, Latins do not do it in chicken; they do it in cow. It's the energy in the place. So you walk in, and it reminds me of what Miami was before we hyper built it. So it has some grit to it. You walk into it and the energy of it is, you can go on a Sunday night after you went
Sure.
to the movies. You can go on a date. You can do anything with it. You can meet a friend for lunchtime. I mean, it's a very, very special spot.
Describe for me, please, Mattia, a little bit the spot, because we talked about the concept, but I want to paint the picture for those who haven't been, and we're gonna show the visuals. But if those of that are listening audio, like paint the picture for me.
It's a tiny spot with a lot of painting. This is very me because also my house, and my house is a lot of painting. And all of this painting was mine. So all of my restaurant have a lot of painting and was mine before.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you can feel immediately in Europe, but also in New York, especially in Cotoletta, Coconut Grove. It's a very tiny space with a lot of table, Italian music for sure, and yes, and just one item.
Love that.
He
And
has the
it's-
best playlist, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Okay.
should sell those playlists.
Okay,
I'm
jealous.
You should put it on Spotify, and you could be an influencer
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So it's just cotoletta, literally, no sides, or there's sides, or
Yes, it's well. Usually we start with 2 little antipasti. We call that stuzzichini. Is a little bruschetta with truffle, and then a bruschetta with tomato and stracciatella.
Okay.
And then you have your cotoletta, and you can pick 2 different size, okay? Between pasta al pomodoro, fried zucchini, arugula salad, and French fries. That's it.
As people are listening, I'm for sure they're gonna get hungry. You're gonna start getting calls now by this point in the episode, right?
We'll put all the information
Yeah,
on the
absolutely.
episode.
So let's keep going. After Cotoletta took off, you went up to Little River, right? And this was San Lorenzo. What did you see? Well, first of all, describe the San Lorenzo concept, please, and then tell us why Little River, like what you saw there.
Well, San Lorenzo was the first place. Well, when I moved in Miami, it was for San Lorenzo. I was
Okay.
fall in love completely with this space. It's a beautiful space close to the water. Again, you can feel in Italy, and yes, it's a no-menu restaurant. The main question is if you want to eat meat or fish, and actually we decide for our client. We have 4 different main items, and that's changed sometimes, not not crazy, and nothing else. And then you have your dessert, and everything is Italian: the wine, the water, my stuff. Everything is Italian except the crepe Suzette. So what I did is a crepe Suzette at the table, like Grand Marnier, and actually it's the favorite dish of the Gingi, I think. And yet, the sense of simplicity, nothing else.
And that opened how many months after Cotoletta?
We open actually almost 9 months after. 9 months after.
Amazing. Okay. And what was the reception to San Lorenzo?
I mean, San Lorenzo is a little house. When I say it's a little house, it's because we host people and like in a house. So we just ask, you have any allergies? Exactly when you call your friend and you say, please come tonight to my
Sure.
house, but tell me if you have something you don't like or you can eat. So, and we do that. I mean, we take care about our class.
I love that. Gingi, talk to me about Little River, because the theme here, as those, if you're paying attention, you realize the restaurants come, right? The neighborhoods follow, and vice versa.
Well, and also one of the things that he hasn't said is that it's the most romantic restaurant in all of Miami.
I like
it's
that.
beautiful. Little River, again, I go back to what he's done in Coconut Grove with the looking at a spot with a little bit of grit. And that's the same thing that you see in Little River. It's unexpected moments, which San Lorenzo is a very unexpected moment. And you're seeing people from Coconut Grove driving to San Lorenzo to go, and not once a month, every week. So I'm seeing it's funny because I walk in and I see my clients and they don't live in Little River. So it's really quite wonderful what's going on there. And I think that part of Little River has started a very large foodie destination because there's a lot of the top restaurants in Miami there. And his is amazing because it's on the water. also. So you have the two experiences. You don't have to go to the beach. You don't have to go, to the bay. He's got it right there.
So on the water, romantic, and no
And
menu.
delicious.
Delicious.
And the crepes you said, he's right. It's totally my
Amazing.
favorite.
What is your list of hospitality non-negotiables? I'm going to start with you this time, Gingi.
Hospitality non-negotiables. Okay. So it's funny because I was talking to him about this, and it's a lot of things. But first thing, it's how you make a person feel. And for me, either with my clients, my friends, all that, I always want to leave you better than when you started. So it's my presence. It's taking the time to do something special for you, pay more attention. For my clients, it's knowing what I need to know.
Yeah.
Not showing up to a meeting and being uninformed, having a pulse, which I think I'm good at, having a pulse in what's going on in the neighborhood, being able to do anything from selling them an apartment to getting them the hottest reservation in town. I basically become a concierge for my clients. But most of my clients have turned into my friends.
Right.
So there are people that I'll spend Christmases with and things like that. So that's basically where I am with hospitality. And I think it's very important. I think also with the money that is in Miami now, the bar has raised.
Yeah.
So you're no longer throwing a brochure at somebody. You really have to have very intelligent conversations. And you have to, go the extra mile. But in my career, that's what I want to represent. I want to represent that I go the extra mile, that when you leave me, it was an experience that you enjoyed.
Mattia.
Well, I think the first one is education. When I say education, is about how you educate your employee and also your customers. And also, the second one is a natural elegance, which means how much is important to feel in the right spot, how much is important the restroom, for example, in a restaurant, to be cleaned with a good flower, how much is important the little things in the restaurant. So a nice tablecloth, well cleaned, the jacket of my waiter, well stretched. That is non-negotiable for me. So the little things.
That's such a good point. And I know you guys do that well here, even down to like the scents and things like that. But I think you're right. It's like when you're inviting somebody to your home, right? Every detail is sort of thought after. And I think
you have to be ready, you can present the table messy with no cutlery and just because you are rushing. You have to be ready, and the little thing is the most important.
Amazing insights here on the art of hospitality. Okay, so we had Cotoletta, right? Then San Lorenzo. So then what came next? Sipapa?
Papa.
Sipapa, right? 3190, right next door, back in the Grove. Okay, and this was a space I believe you found by knocking on a closed door. What's the story there?
So Sipapa was a place that nobody wanted. A really tiny place, like, I don't know, 200 square feet, 300 square feet, really tiny place with no kitchen. So we find this beautiful spot in the center of Coconut Grove, and we say we have to do something, And we did the lasagna alla bolognese. So the lasagna alla bolognese have the secret of the pizza. Everybody can eat that, But a most important thing, you don't need a real kitchen over there, because you can cook the lasagna in a different spot and you can just, preserve the lasagna and serve. So that was why Sipapa and the lasagna. And the other great thing of the lasagna is the dish of the Sunday. There is a Sunday dish, and is a dish you can is a food you can share with everybody, because usually when you do the lasagna, you do for a lot of people. That's why Sipapa.
Tell me about the name behind that.
Well, the name is a long story, but the truly thing is no, it's fine. The truly thing is, the story of a young girl. It doesn't eat nothing, and is that was eating the lasagna in front of her. And when the dad asked him, "You want to try that?" She said, "Si, papa."
I
So
love
he
that.
got her to eat
Yeah.
by
Okay. There
giving
you
her
go.
lasagna.
So so we have the veal, right? Then you have no menu, fish or meat, and we have lasagna. So we've covered some nice ground there, some nice variety. What's next for you, Mattia?
I have a nice dream to do an Italian trattoria with a gastronomia. Gastronomia means to do think for the peoples, to cook for the peoples, and that can be the new restaurant. So it's gonna call San Marco. So it's the sister of San Lorenzo. San Marco is a beautiful square in Venice. One of the most beautiful square in Venice. It's very romantic as we are. I mean, as we are Italian, we are romantic. And yes, we want to again speak about the Italian hospitality with simplicity, with a great thing, with the great food everybody loves, spaghetti al pomodoro, the Italian polpette, the scaloppine al limone. So great simplicity, not crazy dish, not something you have to understand, just you like.
Sure.
That's gonna be some.
I heard a rumor that might be coming south of Fifth. Is that accurate?
It's gonna be coming south of Fifth in the end of the May. So
Congratulations to you, Gingi. You've watched that neighborhood. By the way, south of Fifth, most people know, but just in case you don't, we're talking about Sophie, south of Fifth, Miami Beach, right? One of the most iconic zip codes and neighborhoods in the world. So tell me, you've seen that evolve. What signals told you that it was going to become what it is today, back in the day?
Well, first, the price per square foot and the buildings that we started selling in that area. It's the best views in Miami are south of Fifth Street. By the way, I'm almost sure that we're the ones that named it South of Fifth when we started.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I'm almost 100% sure that we're the ones that named it. So here you go. We named South of Fifth, and I think I knew what was going on because it's hard not to know when you have these beautiful views and these privileged lots that something isn't going to do well. You have the basic, which is location, location, location. And then, you started seeing it grow. Milos opened up. I mean, who would have thought that Milos, when it opened up, it would have done as well as it's done. And then it's everything. I mean, because usually South of Fifth, the only thing that it had for eating was just stone crab.
Right.
And now it's really become a hub of a, very interesting gastronomic feel there. And that's basically it. South of Fifth is really its own thing because nothing has performed as well as South of Fifth has, especially with price per square foot and things like that. It has really kept its value. And we Cervera sold almost every building in that area.
Yeah, at least 90% of the towers.
At least
there.
90% of the towers.
It's totally location plus water.
Right.
Right. So that was a big hit. Speaking of location, Mattia, let's talk about how you choose your location. So the Grove makes total sense. Little River, beautiful, up and coming, south of Fifth, iconic. Right. Are you thinking as an investor or as a restaurateur or a bit of both when you're picking these locations?
no, I'm a restaurateur. I can do only that. I mean, and I usually do only the thing I can do well, or I can try to do well. So yes, I always think about as a restaurateur because I love people and I love to work with my customers. So, and what is important for me is the energy behind that.
Yeah.
So if I feel the energy I can work with, that is I gonna choose the place for that.
For sure. And Gingi, how does that energy impact the market? Like, let's say a San Lorenzo, a San Marco opens up in the neighborhood. Does it move the needle in terms of real estate? What have you seen? How has that played out?
Well, what it does is that it moves the needle on lifestyle because it gives you a place to go when you're buying. And more I'm finding that that's what the buyers want. They do not only want a beautiful, apartment, they also want to be able to walk to their favorite restaurants, to be able to do all that. But I think it also creates, an ecosystem of lifestyle. And I go back and forth always with lifestyle. Lifestyle is what we're selling. We're not selling you a condominium. I'm selling you a lifestyle. And those things are imperative to selling a lifestyle.
Let's talk about lifestyle and consumer behavior, right? And sort of where Miami is evolving in this moment that we're in Miami's culinary scene. Because I think the fact that these single dish concepts have sort of taken off sort of speaks to also Miami's gotten to a place, has evolved, matured, let's say its residents and the people that live here. We're in a moment where it's really blossomed into this global city that we all sort of knew it would be. What is it, in your opinion, right now that makes Miami's culinary scene unique? I'm going to go to you first, Mattia.
Well,
And
Miami
by the
is
way, what else, where else can it go? Like, where does it need to go? Like, does it continue to evolve?
Miami is one of the top cities in the world, and just this is an important and such important things. Behind Miami, you can see a lot of different people and a lot of beautiful and important restaurants.
Mm.
And the city needs that. It's such important. In a world nobody wanna cook, it's such important that. And yes, Miami can bring you the opportunity to find a new idea and to open new concept. And Miami is so ready for that.
I think we're killing the foodie scene. I really do. And it's funny because it's something that has happened recently. When I was in New York City, I always used to think that the restaurants were better than Miami. When I was in Europe, I used to feel the same way, and now I can get anything that I want. I can get any type of dining that I want and done extremely well, better than anybody anywhere in the city, which is huge because it also says how Miami is growing.
Yeah.
It's growing in sophistication, it's growing in what's attracting.
Yeah.
And I think, Miami's growing up.
Yeah.
It's growing up, and it's growing up very elegantly. It's growing up with a lot of options. It's growing up with, anything that, it's the reason, it's not only taxes that are attracting, the people, they're also attracting because of the lifestyle that is here.
Yeah, and I think, a few years ago, we had the first Michelin star rated restaurants,
And now we
popping
have a
up.
collection of them.
Now we have a collection, and then you also have Miami sort of brands like the major food groups of the
Yeah.
world and whatnot that are doing great things, such as individuals like yourself, Mattia, and not even just here, but then like it's used to be from New York or wherever coming here, and now it's like Miami Place is going to other major cities. So that's really encouraging.
We have everything to be proud of because we have everything here, and we have sunshine.
Yeah, and you have the sunshine and the water. Gingi, when you're working with international buyers, how does Miami's food scene and the lifestyle scene influence that decision to invest or even relocate here?
Well, I think it's important to have a reference base to what your client is doing. So if I have a client from Chicago that has such great restaurants, or I have a client from New York City, I think it's very important to have everything at the level that they're used to, because if I don't, I'm not going to sell them. So everything as far as restaurants, even grocery stores, the streets, how clean they are, all those things are very important because they need to be able to see themselves here.
Yeah.
And Miami really, 10 years ago, we weren't in the restaurant scene. We were not. And the lifestyle scene was all South Beach. If you weren't partying and popping bottles, you weren't really doing anything socially in Miami. Now you have everything. You have a restaurant that you could have fine dining in. You can go casual. There's an option for everything, but well done options, not just things thrown together.
It's completely evolved. What do you think Mattia's is missing, or where is there like a hole in the market that you would like to see sort of come into Miami's culinary scene?
The customer usually don't want boring things. When I say that is because if you build up just a nice restaurant is not enough tomorrow. So you have to build up value when you open a restaurant. which means you have to understand the sense of the beauty people needs, you know, not only in a great place, man, in a different concept, in a different atmosphere. And maybe what we have to do as a restaurateur is start thinking more about our customers, because sometimes we forget how important the customers, not only because it brings money, but because it brings value.
So, Mattia, as we look ahead to the future plans, 6 months from now, San Marco is already a huge success. I know it's gone viral. But what is the next 6 months or the next 6 years hold for you? Would you ever consider partnering with a developer to bring your restaurant concept maybe into a mixed-use residential project?
Well, I would love to do that. I mean, that can be a good opportunity to create something new, because if you work for somebody, you're gonna create something new. You have to create something new too. And when you have to create something, means your mind can be open again and starts again with a new opportunity. Not only because you open a restaurant, but because you can view something very different. And yes, I would love that.
Gingi, you're my real estate expert here, my resident expert in this convo. So what neighborhood needs that most right now? What neighborhood needs Mattia plus a really cool concept right now?
Well, I mean, I would love to have Mattia on Brickle, obviously, for selfish reasons. I'm on Brickle all the time. But I think, look, I think that food and beverage is very important to when you're dealing with luxury real estate. You know, I think it's very important. I think it's very important to have something that you don't have to leave your residence, and you can have everything that you need there. You know, you don't have to walk.
So before we close, I'm going to switch into a rapid fire session, and we're just going to, you just bear with me here. I'm going to throw these at you. Well, maybe we'll use it, maybe we don't. So don't be nervous. I'm looking at you, Gingi.
I'm not
I
nervous.
see you get nervous.
No, no, I'm not.
This is
I'm
rapid
not
fire.
nervous at all.
This is the fun stuff, guys. That's all fun.
I've been having fun the entire time.
Good. Mattia, #1 foodie neighborhood in Miami right now.
I think is between Coconut Grove and Coral Gables.
Interesting. Okay. I didn't expect that. Well, the Gables part, but yeah, that makes
The
sense.
Coconut Grove, yeah, I didn't expect the Gables.
Gingi, #1 foodie neighborhood.
#1 foodie neighborhood, I have to say Brickell.
I
I mean, Brickell Avenue has it all.
What's your go-to on Brickell?
My go-to at Le Petit Maison.
Oh, circling back to the Gables, what is it? What's your top in the Gables, Mattia?
Oh my God, this is a tough.
You better be careful.
No, this is a tough question. Well, I just want to say the Gables have very good Italian restaurants, which means something very classic and very Italian. I mean, usually we think about Italian food, but to find authentic Italian food is not easy, you know. And I think in the Gables, especially, you can find a good neighborhood with a lot of that.
Excellent. What's the most rewarding compliment you've ever received as a restaurateur?
Is for sure about my guys. When people say the compliment about my employees is the best compliment they can give me.
Gingi, what is the most rewarding compliment you've ever received as a realtor?
Think.
You can't overthink it.
No, but okay, no, but I'm trying to figure out which one. I get a lot of them. I'm sorry.
Nice.
I think I'll tell you what I thought was one of the nicest compliments. I had a gentleman come in on his private jet. We picked him up. I opened the sales office for him on a Sunday, and I sold him one of our penthouses. And what he said about me was that the reason he bought was because I didn't pressure him. And it felt like just, you know, I'm buying this from her because she didn't pressure me.
I love that.
And yeah, so that's a very good compliment.
Mattia, what's the wildest or most extreme hospitality moment you've ever had to handle?
The owner of the restaurant didn't pay the gas. and you know, we was without gas in the middle of the service. And I was in a supermarket buying in the catering stuff. And we did a beautiful evening. It was incredible. But yes, that was really tough.
Gingi, tell me about the wildest moment in your illustrious real estate career.
Oddest moment. I'll tell you one of the oddest moments. I was showing a house and I opened. I know.
This is gonna be good.
I opened a house on North Bay Road and I was showing it and there was a naked guy on the couch.
Okay.
Oh my God. And it wasn't even cute. I mean, I was like,
that was
oh
my
my
next
gosh.
question. That was my follow-up. I hope you were able to close that deal regardless, but
I did.
yeah, okay. Yes, you're a closer. Mattia, what's the most surprising guest or celebrity who's dined with you, if you could disclose?
You can disclose.
Well, I can say the last because it was 2 days ago.
Oh,
It was an Italian star. It was Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA.
Ah.
It was a great gentleman, and it was exactly 1 week ago at San Lorenzo.
San Lorenzo.
So,
Okay, very nice.
yes.
Was he on a date, or we can't
No,
disclose?
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a beautiful. It was with beautiful, beautiful, beautiful customer.
Gingi, last rapid fire goes to you. What is the most exciting emerging neighborhood on your radar for real estate?
Exciting and emerging. You know what? I continue with Brickell because Brickell Avenue has become the best neighborhood in Miami. You know, it's safe, it's pretty, we've got everything we need. And that wasn't like that 10 years ago. I mean, when I first started working at 1428, the first thing I thought of, oh my God, it's on Brickell. And now I live on Brickell, you know, so I think Brickell Avenue has become, you know, the Central Park west of Miami.
Well, this brings me to my final closing question for you, and then I'm coming to you, Mattia, and it might be an extension of this. But if a buyer says to you, I want to be in a neighborhood Miami will care about 5 years from now, where do you point them? Is that Brickell?
Brickell is a different buy. Brickell is a buy of you want the best, and that's what I'm going to sell you. Now, if you want growth, then I'm probably going to go to Little River. I am probably going to do certain pockets of Edgewater, even certain pockets of Bell Harbor, which are the emerging, you know, the emerging neighborhoods that I think. Brickell is it's established. So it's hard to say that, even though when you're buying pre-construction in Brickell, obviously you'll be able to escalate those prices by the time we're completely topped off.
100%. Mattia, final word goes to you. For anyone thinking about opening a business, buying a home, or investing here in this amazing, beautiful city of ours, what do you want them to understand about Miami that most people still don't?
Well, Miami can be 1,000 different city in one. So, for example, I love to live close to the water, and that is such important for me because made me completely a different, a different vibe. You need to move in this city, and it's not easy because you need a car or something. I mean, and then you have to trust to your real estate, so you can find the best place with her suggestion, with his suggestion.
Love that. Anything else that we left on the table, Gingi?
No, this was awesome.
Did you have fun?
I had a great time.
I hope that I know that our listeners gained a lot of great insight and knowledge, and I hope you all will be calling Mattia soon to go check out one of his amazing restaurants. So that's Cotoletta in the Grove for some
Cotoletta.
Cotoletta in the Grove. Thank you, Gingi.
And I hope you'll be calling Gingi for all your real estate needs.
I'm getting there. Let me do my close, Gingi. Let me do my close. Cotoletta in the Grove for some veal. We have San Lorenzo and Little River for a beautiful romantic evening. I feel like you're about to say something.
Yeah, because it's not veal. It's veal milanesa, which is two completely different things.
Okay, so we're
It's
back,
like a
we're back on
bistec
Cotoletta?
Yeah, so it's a beef
We're gonna do this. We're gonna
well,
do this.
I don't want them thinking that you're going for veal scallopini. Yeah, I mean, it's like...
I mean, I want you to leave this in, okay? Now we're gonna do a new close, Gingi, together. We're live. We're doing it live. Cotoletta in the Grove for a beautiful veal milanesa, right? Is that okay? Can I move on?
Yes.
San Lorenzo and Little River for a romantic, beautiful evening on the water. Okay, we have Si Papa, right? On Sunday, grab some delicious lasagna. And now the newest, hottest place to be, San Marco, south of 5th, for some traditional Italian. Not so, none of the vibes are traditional because it's just It's a beautiful, authentic hospitality. So excited to have you here. And if you want a fun person to join you on those dining establishments, dining experiences, call Gingi Beltran. Also, if you need some real estate. And yeah, but most importantly, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you to everybody for listening. This is the Miami Real Estate Podcast. We had Mattia Cicognani and Gingi Beltran, two amazing people. This has been a fun Friday afternoon. We invite you all to like and subscribe. Let us know what you think about the episode in the comments. You can find all the information about what we talked about down there, so you can reach out, get on that guest list. Don't wait long, because it sounds like it's a tough ticket to get, right? But if anything, call Mattia and tell him Omar sent you, and then you can
I
cut
think
the
you'll
line.
have better luck if you say Gingi.
If you say that, that's true. So in the meantime, make sure to like, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen. We will be back soon, but until then, remember that here in Miami, the future is always bright. Take care, folks.
So fun.
Thank you.